This is the Puck Junk Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. I'm Sal Berry, and with me is Tim Parish. And today we are going to do a Setrospective about the 1988-89 Topps and O-Pee-Chee Hockey card sets. We'll talk about a few other things related to the world of hockey and hockey cards, but first want to see how you're doing, Tim. So, what's the latest and/or greatest, as I am fond of saying?
Wow, thank you so much for asking.
I care because I care.
You know, isn't it amazing how little time we spend really getting to know someone these days? And then just along comes Sal, and he's so interested in me and my situation. It means so much to me that you asked.
Yeah, I'm just angling to see if another tree fell on your garage yet.
No.
Okay.
But you're probably wondering why the over-enthusiastic positivity.
Yeah, what's up with that? Are you okay? You've been replaced by a pod person?
Well, you know, I've been told that I tend to ooze negativity quite often. So I'm trying to turn over a new stone, so to speak. Because normally when you'd ask me that, I would say something of the effect of, you know, you ever notice that just before someone goes completely violently nuts, their eyes widen and you can kind of feel the tension wafting off of them like some kind of disease on a rabid animal?
I've
No?
never been
Just
close
me?
enough to somebody to notice that, like
Okay.
physically close enough.
I wasn't either. I was just asking. I was wondering. But how are you doing?
You know, I'm doing okay. I'm still in my summer break mode. I still think I have another 3 weeks before I start school. Wait. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks and 2 days. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little too long, unfortunately. I kind of want to start stuff like 2 days after Labor Days when we usually start, but this time we're not starting until September 10th. So I have like that whole Labor Day week off, and then like the following week we don't even start until Wednesday, which is annoying kind of because I'd rather start on a Monday, like if we're going to take that week off, but okay, whatever. So anywho, so yeah, so I'm just getting as much writing done as I can. You know, always working on 2 pieces per issue for the hockey news. And then I'm also writing again for Sports Collectors Digest. So I've been working on some pieces for that. So I've been just trying to get some writing done and, you know, try to get all those things done that you say you'd get done when you have like a week off or a month off or a day off or whatever, you know what I mean? So that's just what I've been at. And, you know, also just trying to organize my collection because I got all those cards from the National and I still haven't put half of them away. You know, like I bought all those 2008, 2009 champs cards and they're still in the binder that they came in. And I still haven't pulled out the ones that I've needed, mark them off my list, and then put them into my own set, my own set build. So stuff like that has just been kind of piling up. So been trying to be a little more proactive about putting cards away.
I can't believe your school hasn't started yet.
And well, it's college, so, you know.
Yeah. My youngest is just started his senior. It's his birthday today. He just started his senior year of high school, and this is week 3. So, I mean, they've been back for 3 weeks already. So, which I don't feel like we started school this early when we were kids. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Okay, I remember when I was like in grammar school, I remember we started, this is when I went to Catholic school. I remember we always started like the week after, like it was like early September, right? Like,
yeah, like right after Labor Day, right?
Exactly. And then when we moved to the suburbs, we started like the end of August, and it seemed so weird. It was like August 25th, and like I'm in the suburbs now, and it's like new school, new everything. And like, we're starting August. That just seemed so weird, and sacrilegious. Although I was went from a religious school to a public school, but it seemed sacrilegious to like start school in August.
Yeah, last week of August, first week of September is always Labor Day. So, I mean, it's like starting after that, you don't have to give the extra time off. But
Right.
like I said, this is week 3, and then they get next Monday off. So,
Yeah.
it's, 4th week in, you already get a day off during the week. But whatever.
I'll tell you this.
We're ancient. Things were different then.
I miss hockey season. I miss hockey. I've been watching preseason football. That's how desperate I am to watch some sports because I can't watch baseball.
Yikes.
Baseball puts me to sleep. So I've been watching the Bears.
Preseason football puts me to sleep.
Well, you know what? I don't really know enough about football to know that. I mean, I know it's a subpar product, but I don't care. Like, I like preseason football for the same reason I like preseason hockey. You see guys that will probably never play in the league. So sometimes you just see somebody who's just there for a preseason game and then they're gone, or they're there for a couple of games or they surprise, and they were a walk-on and then they make the team. And sometimes you see that in hockey also. So I just think that's kind of cool. So, yeah, so I'm just like, when do we start getting preseason hockey games? Because I want to watch hockey. I really want to watch hockey. So anyway, so that's what's up with me. Yeah, so recently somebody reached out on social media and suggested that we do asked if we would do a podcast about 88, 89 Topps and O-Pee-Chee. Actually, I think they said, hey, have you guys done a podcast about that? And I said, no, we haven't. I mean, I've written about it for Puck Junk. I wrote an article about it just because I'm fond of, well, the Topps set especially, because that's when I got my collecting start. So we're going to talk about the Red Wings retiring Sergei Fedorov's number 91. We're going to talk about the ECHL expanding to Augusta, Georgia. We're going to talk about a Georges Vezina rookie card that sold for over $100,000. And then we're going to get into our Setrospective, as I like to call it, of the 88, 89 Topps and O-Pee-Chee hockey card sets.
I like the randomness of that graphic, even though it was thrown on probably by mistake.
Well, no. It was supposed to be there, but it got pushed over. I'm looking at what I made and then what got uploaded, and it looks weird. Like, I don't know why it's doing
I kind of like it like that. It almost looks like it's just laying on the screen.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it shouldn't be covering the text. So that's good design and bad design. But anyway, so let's talk about Sergei Fedorov. So Detroit is going to finally retire Sergei Fedorov's number 91 on January 9th of 2026. And as anyone who's, in our age group will just say, anyone who remembers hockey in the 90s remembers Sergei Fedorov for being just like one of the best players in the league, 2-time Selke Trophy winner, 3-time Stanley Cup winner. I mean, if you think about like a team with like top 2 centers, I mean, yeah, Mario Lemieux was arguably the best player in the 1990s. But if you just think about like the best 2 centers on the same team, I mean, Yzerman and Fedorov, I mean, either of those guys could have been a number 1 on any team. And the fact that they basically had 2 number 1 centers, I mean, really made Detroit deadly, not to mention that, that Scotty Bowman adopted the whole Russian 5 thing, where instead of like doing like line changes with like forwards and defensemen, he just would put out 3 Russian forwards and 2 Russian defensemen out together to play as like a 5-man unit. So, I wonder though why it's taking Detroit this long. Do you know if there's any like backstory behind that, like or bad feelings maybe?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, an original 6 team retiring numbers, it's kind of like there's so many numbers to go back in their history to retire, but this is one of those cases where no one's worn 91. So why they waited this long, I don't really know. I don't know if there is a good reason. Yeah,
so anyway, so just a couple of the other accolades in Fedorov's career. So I mean, he played from 1990 to 2009. He played 13 years with the Red Wings from 1991 to 2002, 2003. He also played with the Ducks, the Blue Jackets, and the Capitals. He won the Hart Trophy in 94, the Pearson Trophy in 94, the Selke Trophy in 94, and again in 96. He was part of the back-to-back Red Wings Stanley Cup championships in 97, 98, and then that 2002 team, which I think was probably the best hockey team ever assembled. That 2002 team was just ridiculous. So, I mean, I look and I go, yeah, it's great that they're retiring his number. I just like should have been done a long time ago. But
well, and if you ask Jimmy Devellano, he would have said that he could have won the Norris Trophy too if he was a defenseman.
I believe it. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite stories of Fedorov was when their defenseman got banged up, and I guess the story goes that Scotty Bowman called him into his office and said, "Hey, what do you think about playing defense for a couple games, and I'll pair you up with Larry Murphy?" And he was like, I don't know. I could probably do it, but I don't know. And he's like, well, you'll probably get 23 to 25 minutes of ice time. And he's like, I'll do it. And so he played defense, and he was pretty much lights out. So yeah, it's, I mean, good athletes are good athletes, and they can pretty much work like a Swiss Army knife. Mm-hmm. You can fit them into different positions. And he was definitely one of the most versatile players I've ever seen play. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, a good skater, good shooter, good passer, good everything. You know, what's interesting is he defected to the United States. And what was funny was I remember when he was playing on the Soviet Red Army team, and I remember they had an exhibition match against the Blackhawks. It was on was it January 1st of 1990, and it was when they'd have the Soviet teams touring North America to play against the NHL teams. And I remember, you know, it being January 1. If I'm remembering the date correctly, I remember going to that game. And, you know, because I wanted to see the Russian team, you know, because they were so good, you know. And even though a lot of their best players had already, that was a year that all those guys like Fetisov and Larionov had left for North America, right? But still, so I wanted to see the game. I remember going to that game. And then what's interesting is like the next day, like he defected. So it was like, or like basically the groundwork was laid because like the someone from the Red Wings went and visited him in the locker room and handed him like a Red Wings book, and then he opened it up and there was like a note that said, "We've drafted you," and kind of hinted that they would help get him, you know, basically get him to safety. So I just thought that was interesting that that all happened in Chicago. You know, I went to go see the game, and then after the game, all this stuff was going down on the down low.
Yeah, I mean that's that era, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously the whatever you want to call it, the wall was knocked down or whatever to bring people over here. It was still difficult. I mean, it was still very difficult. You know, late 80s, early 90s. I mean, heck, even into the 2000s, it was hard to get some guys over here because of various issues with passports and work visas and just even letting them leave the country when they were obligated. Because, I mean, look, Soviet Union, Russia now, they have mandatory military for guys, so the younger guys may be NHL ready, but they might still have to serve military time.
Mm-hmm.
Many of these guys serve on the national teams. They make commitments so it's difficult. It was very difficult. But you know, while you were talking there, got me thinking. I wonder if this has anything to do with, because you reminded me that he played for the Ducks. I almost forgot about that. And
Yeah.
it reminds me if maybe they were harboring like some kind of ill will towards that whole deal. Because remember when he left and went to the Ducks, Carolina originally sent him that offer sheet.
Yes.
And that was like a big deal. But then he left and went to the Ducks. But I mean,
I think that offer sheet was in the late 90s, though, if I remember correctly. I want to say it was like the late 90s.
Yeah, that happened first, and then he eventually left and went to the Ducks because, I mean, the offer that was given to him from Detroit was pulled. So he went to Anaheim. So I don't know if maybe that was something with ownership. They just kind of felt that way. And since it is the centennial season coming up, maybe they were like, we'll bury the hatchet and do this.
Also crazy to think that he and Alex Ovechkin were on the same team for a couple of years.
On Washington, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
That's it's funny, and I don't know the guy's name, but just a quick story. I remember I probably mentioned this before. I was a paid extra, like whatever they call it, a skilled extra in a commercial that ended up never getting aired. They needed hockey players. And so they would literally just take anybody who owned their equipment, including me. So I started talking to this guy who was like, we're waiting for them to set up the camera. And this guy's doing like all these tricks with the puck and stuff. So I skate over to him. I'm like, hey, man, what's your deal? And he's like, I used to play in the ECHL. I'm like, oh, really? Wow. I'm like, did you ever, how close did you get to the NHL? He's like, I went to a Washington Capitals training camp. I'm like, oh, wow. What do you remember about that? He goes, I remember they gave me number 91 because Sergei Fedorov had just retired. So they had a Capitals jersey with 91 and they just gave it to me. And he's like, oh man, this is not the number I want to wear in training camp.
Yeah, that spells certain doom.
Yeah, and he just said, I know I'm not making the team, because It wasn't just that they gave him a linebacker number. It was that they gave him a linebacker number that was also worn by a future Hall of Famer. So it was just such a terrible thing to do to a guy trying to make the cut. And I think he ended up in the ECHL, whoever this guy was. I don't remember his name, but it was just a funny story. I got to wear number 91 after Fedorov retired, but very cool.
Well, he's certainly a deserving, and it's nice to see that they're doing that for him. And, obviously during the centennial season, which I'm sure we'll see a lot of other events coming down in Detroit. And, so it'll be interesting. I could tell you, over the years, I've run into a ton of Sergei Fedorov collectors out there.
Really?
So I know they're out there in the hobby, and I'm sure they're going to be all ecstatic about this.
Do you know if they need any 90-91 Pro Set Sergei Fedorov rookie cards? Because I got 50.
Would imagine if they're pretty strong collectors, they are probably good in that. But I'll let them know.
Let them know. Send them my email.
Send them your way. You have 5,000 of them?
50. Yeah.
50,000 of them? I believe that.
Maybe closer to 100, not 100,000, just 100. So the ECHL, which used to stand for the East Coast Hockey League, but now it just stands for the ECHL because they're everywhere. They're in the East Coast and the West Coast and in the Midwest and in the Southwest and in Canada too, right? So ECHL should be the everywhere league.
I feel like they were still called the East Coast League when I used to go to the Wranglers games in Vegas all the time.
Probably because I want to say it was the late 2000s they changed their name. But what's nice about the ECHL, or what's just, I don't say nice, but notable, is that like with baseball, I know you know this, but our listeners also know this too. You have A, AA, AAA. What do they have? Rookie, and then A, AA, AAA, and then Major League Baseball, right? And in hockey, it's not as simple, right? You do have AAA, which is basically the AHL, but then you have the ECHL, which is like AA. And what's interesting about this move is that when this Augusta team will join the league, that'll put it at 32 teams. Right now, there's 30 teams. The team in New Mexico is going to join in 26-27, and then the Augusta team will join in 27-28. that'll bring it to 32 teams, which is cool because 32 NHL teams, 32 AHL teams, 32 ECHL teams, right? So that's how it needs to be, right? So that every NHL club has an AHL affiliate and an ECHL affiliate, and then they can, I don't know. I mean, I think that would just help with player development a lot more, right? You could send a guy down 1 or 2 levels. And I know like usually players always talk about, oh, when they go to the ECHL, that's just like the worst, right? Like that's like, you're not coming back or it's harder to get back or whatever, but maybe not. I mean,
if you're working your way up, it's one thing,
right?
But if you've already been up and now you find yourself back there, it's
right.
probably not the best thing.
Yeah. So it's, on your way up. Sure. Right. Like, I know like on Spitting Chicklets, Paul Bissonnette always talks about playing in the ECHL, but he was an ECHL all-star. And then he moved his way up to the AHL and then eventually the NHL. So, I mean, there is, Scott Darling, the former Chicago Blackhawks and Carolina Hurricanes netminder, another example, worked his way up from the ECHL, AHL, and then NHL, right? So I think this is a cool thing.
Jonathan Quick and Tim Thomas both came out of the ECHL.
Oh yeah, so. Tim Thomas played in like any like league that existed. I'm sure Tim Thomas played in somewhere. I mean, he played in the IHL before they went defunct, and the AHL, the ECHL, and then like some team overseas, I think. I mean, he was just all over the dang place. But yeah, that is true.
You got to be a great goalie. Even if you're a good goalie, you're probably a great goalie in the ECHL. But, as it gets higher, competition's going to increase. So Those are 2 guys that had ECHL experience. But I noticed one of the bullet points you have on here is will be owned by Tim Tebow. Yes, folks, that Tim Tebow.
So for those of us who don't really follow football, although we've been watching a little preseason, why don't you fill us in on Tim Tebow?
Well, I think most people would have to have lived under a rock to not know who Tim Tebow is, but he was the Heisman Trophy winner in 2007 and played in the NFL for a while. He was kind of one of those controversial type guys because he's very proud of his religion and proud of his faith, and he would bring it into most things and talk about, God stuff, and that's controversial for a lot of people because a lot of people want to keep their things separation of church and football, because after all, the NFL does own Sunday, which used to be owned by the church. So anyway, he's out of the league now. He's tried various different things, broadcasting and whatnot. He does a lot of NCAA type coverage. He's also taken a shot playing in the Major League Baseball. So a lot of things, but he's part of an ownership team that got granted this expansion team, which is interesting because he currently co-owns the Lake Tahoe Night Monsters, who were a new team last year in the league. So I don't know how that's going to work. How can you be co-owner of one team and then on the ownership team of another team? I feel like that's a conflict of interest.
Totally is. And I think you'd have to sell your shares or whatever of one team so that.
And he's always been a hockey fan, and he's talked about hockey and stuff like that before, because previously he was like limited partner in a couple different teams, the Jacksonville Icemen and the Savannah Ghost Pirates. So, I don't see how that works in this situation. It's kind of like the same thing with, since we're briefly talking about football, with Tom Brady partially owning the Raiders, but also being a broadcaster. So it's like, how do you separate those two? But I don't know. I'm sure they'll make him do something, divest interest in one or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you can make money off of a team and maybe not have any like control over it. You're just you you're an owner, but you can't really like do anything to. Although
It's
I don't
certainly
know.
a selling point. I'm sure people will go to games and buy tickets just because, oh, Tim Tebow.
Really?
Oh, yeah. There's people like that.
I mean, that didn't work for the Phoenix Coyotes with Wayne Gretzky as coach. So,
I mean, it did for a little bit.
a little bit, yeah.
Until that didn't make them any better.
So. No. Yeah, it's funny. We used to tell this joke. You've obviously heard of the book and the movie, even if though you never watched it or read it, 50 Shades of Grey. I
dressed up like that for Halloween once.
What's that?
I dressed up as that for Halloween once.
As what?
50 Shades of Grey.
Go on.
I got every shade of gray swatch from Home Depot in the paint section, and I hooked them all to a gray sweatshirt, and I was 50 Shades of Gray.
You really did that?
Absolutely. There's pictures that I'll show you.
Oh my God. That's funny, but also weird, but funny.
I'll find the picture and I'll send it to you.
So we used to have a joke. We'd say 50 Shades of Wayne, because Gretzky's face would just get redder and redder as like the Coyotes would just like, they'd be down 2-0, 3-0, 4-1, 5-1. And he'd just get angrier and redder. So it was 50 Shades of Wayne. So yeah, I don't know about. I mean, I saw Gretzky play. I didn't really need to see him coach. In fact, I'm probably better off for not having seen him coach, other than on TV, where you could just see him get angry.
Promotional things to sell tickets are done in every sport and every league.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you listen to Phil Esposito talk all the time about bringing Manon Rhéaume on that one time for Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
And he always talks about it. Look, I admit it was a promotional stunt, but then we could put her on the ice and we realized she was actually pretty good. So, it's the whole circus part of it will be around as long as people will buy tickets and go see it. Not that that's what this is, but
I think the thing though that people forget about Manon Rhéaume is that she was good enough to get that training camp invite. She wasn't just some random woman who happened to play goalie. I mean, when she was 12,
she wasn't.
When she was 12, she played in the Quebec Pee Wee tournament, right? She was on a team of all boys, right? She was the only girl on that team, right? So she was good enough to play in the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. She was good enough to fill in a was it a QMJHL game? One or two games, I think she came in as like in relief for the other goalie or something, right? So I mean, like she was good enough to get into those situations. This wasn't just completely random, and I think a lot of people just don't see that. They don't see like the backstory. They just only go, oh, it was a publicity stunt,
Well, I mean, you're also going to the horse's mouth there with Phil, who just says whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those old school guys, and he's got interview. He's even a soundbite on Sirius XM NHL radio.
Really?
They play when they talk about her. Usually when they do those like in between breaks, and they'll do like today in history. I've heard that one numerous times.
Right. So anyways, ECHL expanding. Currently, Ottawa and Columbus don't have ECHL affiliates, but that should hopefully be ironed out in a couple of years, when we have these two other teams join, and then every, 32 ECHL teams, 32 AHL teams, 32 NHL teams, and the world is a better place. And then there's balance and harmony, right?
Well, if they pick these two teams up for those guys, boy, New Mexico is a long drive from Ottawa. I'll tell you that.
Well, they might shuffle things around a bit. I mean, affiliates change all the time. Georges Vezina. So a Georges Vezina rookie card that I wrote about in the last newsletter. I said, could this card top $100,000? And yes, it did. So it actually went for $128,100. So just to give a little bit of a backstory on this. It's a 1911-12 Imperial Tobacco, a.k.a. the C55 set. So 1911-12 Imperial Tobacco, card number 38, Georges Vezina. It's considered his rookie card. I say that because he actually had a postcard issued by Sweet Caporal Cigarettes that came out the previous year. But I guess postcards are like stickers. They can't be rookie cards. But anyways, so this was sold at Heritage Auctions. It was graded a 7.5 Near Mint Plus by PSA. The only one higher in the PSA registry was a PSA 8. So the auction ended August 23rd of 2025. And like I said, it went for $128,100. That's including a 22% buyer's premium. And just to give a little perspective, a couple weeks earlier, so early August, a Sweet Caporal postcard of Vezina sold at auction for $68,400, including buyer's premium. So I know this pales in comparison to some basketball card that we should probably talk about, just because all tides, or a tide raises all ships or whatever. But
yeah, when you have Mr. Wonderful money.
Sure, when you have Mr. Wonderful money, but as far as a historical hockey card, I mean, you know what? Again, we always are asked, like, well, if you could have any sport card, what would you want? And we'd always say, oh, I want whatever the most expensive sport card is. But if it was just like, no, if you could have any sport card and you couldn't sell it, right? Because we'd all say, oh, I want the Hannes Wagner card, right? Because it's the most expensive card ever. But if it was just a card that you just wanted for your collection, like this would be the one that I would pick, right? Because it's from the first hockey trading card set. It's of the guy that they named the best goalie trophy after. I mean, he played like 15 years in the league, and he would have played longer if he didn't die of tuberculosis. So, I mean, he's one of the all-time greats, one of the first greats of the game, also the first goalie in the NHL to record a shutout. So, I mean, I think it's pretty freaking awesome. This would definitely be, if I could get one in really poor shape, man, I'd be happy, just because it's just such a cool card. I mean, for hockey collectors, this is kind of like our, maybe like our Babe Ruth, or maybe like our Hannes Wagner card. I don't know. It's not.
That's what I would say.
Right.
This is the Hannes Wagner card for hockey.
Right. Because it's the most sought after card in that set.
Right. Now, comparing it to the population that's out there of it, I mean, this one can be found more often.
Yes.
In fact, at the National this year, I saw more of these than I ever have in my life. I didn't even realize there were that many surfing, and a lot of dealers had these in cases. Most of them are in pretty banged up shape, but
graded, right?
Oh yeah, the vast. I don't think I saw any that weren't graded.
Well, no, because I kind of tend to ignore most graded cards because I'm just like, how come I didn't see any of these? But I think it's because when I see slabs, I just keep walking.
Well, that's the thing. You mentioned there was one higher in PSA's pop count other than this 7.5. I think there's between SGC and PSA, there's like almost 300 of these that have been slabbed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anywhere close to that. The Wagner card.
No, well, no, because that card was short printed, it was withdrawn, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean,
like I thought there was like maybe less than 50 of those Wagner cards.
I think so, yeah. I mean,
something like that, but I don't know. I'm not an expert on that. I'm not an expert on this either, because this is obviously even at the 128,000, which I got that. That's just flash cash for me, but I don't know that I would spend that on a hockey card. Maybe I would. I don't know. If money was no object, I suppose this is one that, as a collector, that you have to have in your collection. But yeah, 128,000. That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of cabbage.
Yeah. So
I actually like that sweet Pearl one. We saw those at the National. They were on display.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that was a cool card, and the fact that it sold for that much less. It was part of a set, and all of the cards but one were for sale, and I think they all sold. The cheapest one went for like $500.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
and that was trying to remember who that was. It was one of the lesser known players, I think. May have been, I want to say, like a Poulin, George Poulin, maybe.
Okay.
Went for like $500.
Hmm.
And I think the New Zealand line went for like 1,000, and then they just kind of went up from there. But yeah, I mean, it's a great card. That's super high grade too.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great. I mean, I've, obviously I just scrutinized the pictures online, but I'm just like, wow, this card just looks
Well,
fantastic.
it also looks like it's in a newer slab too.
Right.
Newer PSA slab, which means it's going to have a different grade attached to it. A little tougher grade than they used to be. Yeah. Really cool.
All right. Shall we get into our Setrospective?
Absolutely.
All right. So just a quick overview of 88, 89 Topps and O-Pee-Chee hockey cards, right? So to me, I'll say this right now. This is a special set because I discovered hockey halfway through the 88, 89 season. And the first pack of hockey cards I bought were 88, 89 Topps hockey cards. Now, I might have bought Panini stickers before then because I couldn't find Panini stickers at my local supermarket. Cards, on the other hand, hockey cards, I had to go to a card shop to get. So I'm fond of this set. I mean, I like it because that was the year I discovered hockey. This is the year I started collecting. I mean, I love the wrapper, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. But those of you who are watching the, what's it called? The video of this. So for those of you who are listening, I'll just describe. But so the wrapper, which uses a hockey player wearing yellow with a red helmet, and it's on a blue background. And when I created the wrapper-inspired T-shirts that I sell online and at shows, I designed one to look like that wrapper from that season, even though the illustration is different because I didn't want to just take Topps illustration and throw it on a T-shirt because, I mean, everybody does that and it's kind of illegal. But
yeah, kind of, a little bit.
Kind of a little bit, yeah.
Just
so,
slightly.
But anyway, so that's just I just have such a fondness for everything that has to do with this set, right? So, okay, so that's the details. So 88, 89 Topps had 198 cards, 33 insert stickers. You'd get those one per pack. And then there were 16 box bottom cards. O-Pee-Chee was a little bit bigger, 66 more cards, so 264 cards. So really not that much bigger of a set. And it also had 16 box bottom cards. Now, how these were sold? Topps came in 12 card packs. So a pack was 50 cents. It had 12 cards, one sticker, and one stick of bubble gum. And a box had 36 packs. O-Pee-Chee, on the other hand, a wax pack cost 35 cents. It had 7 cards, one stick of bubble gum. A box would have 38 packs. So O-Pee-Chee would do this thing where they would do less cards per pack, but more packs per box. And then they also sold their cards in rack packs, which had 42 cards. Looks like it was like 41 cards plus one glossy leaders card from the 88-89 O-Pee-Chee leaders set, and then a stick of gum. And then what was unique about this set was that it was also sold as a factory set. I've never seen a factory set of these in the wild. I don't know if I might have seen one on eBay a while ago. That's where I grabbed this image from. But before we get into like the just the nuts and bolts and talking about some of the best cards and, of course, the Gretzky card, which is super significant. Tim, what do you remember about the set? Were you buying hockey at this point?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah. I was pretty much baseball only at that point.
Okay.
I didn't really start picking up hockey cards until the following year. because 89-90, as everybody knows, were everywhere. 88-89, not so much where I was from. And if you found any at all, it was going to be at a hobby shop. And so those weren't quite as prevalent at that point in my area as they were, let's say fast forward 3-4 years later, where there was one on every block, it seemed like. So yeah, this wasn't really on my radar at that point. So I can't say I opened any back then.
Well, I do remember the card shop that I would go to, and there was only really one card shop that like we knew about that we would go to. And it was a little bit of a pain to get to. I always had to ask my mom for like a ride to it or whatever. And then I think when I started driving, then I'd go to it later on my own. But like, they had 88, 89, and they still had packs of 87, 88. And I remember like I bought a lot of 88, 89 because I had a lot of extras. I have quite a few extras, but then I also bought, I ended up just buying a complete set. And so then once I had the complete set, it was kind of foolish for me to buy additional packs, but I kind of did anyways, but not as much. Then I started throwing my money towards trying to build an 87, 88 set. And that was annoying because those were more expensive, like because they'd say, oh, well, it's an older set. So they were like maybe 75 cents a pack, or I remember they were $1 a pack. And I remember they went up to $1.50 a pack. And I even remember in like 89, 90, I was still trying to finish my 87, 88 set. And they were selling those packs for like $1.50 or $2 or whatever. You know what I mean? But that's kind of where I was putting my money towards. So I probably had more extras of 87, 88 than 88, 89, because that one, once I bought the set, I was pretty much done with it. Although, like I said, I still bought, a pack here or there just because they were just such cool cards. I want to talk
collector. That's what we do.
Yeah. So I want to talk about the Gretzky card because that was such a significant card. So what would happen up until this point? Usually what Topps and O-Pee-Chee would do is if a player was traded to another team, if they couldn't catch it in time, it just didn't, they didn't do anything about it. If they could catch it in time, minimally, they'd put a little bit of text that would say now with new team, right? Or they might change out the logo. Or if they had a little more time, they would paint the photo of the player so that it looked like he was wearing a different uniform, the uniform of his new team. However, when Gretzky gets traded in August of 1988, so maybe a couple months before this set came out, Topps had a decision to make, right? Like you could not ignore the biggest trade, arguably, in sports history. Not hockey history, sports history. And people, Babe Ruth was traded. Yeah, well, Babe Ruth was a prospect, okay? He wasn't the Babe Ruth of, after 10 years of playing in the pros when he got traded from, was it the Red Sox, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so when Gretzky gets traded, what's the hockey card company going to do? Do you ignore the trade? You can't really do that. Do you airbrush him? You can't really do that to the great one. Well, we don't have a photo of him yet playing for the Kings. So they did the next best thing, and they used the press conference photo. There were two press conferences. There was the first one in Edmonton, which is the one where he was crying. It's very emotional. I'm not making fun of him when he's like crying. I mean, he says, I promised Mess I wouldn't do this. I mean, dude's 27 years old and his world just got turned upside down, right? So yeah, okay. Nothing but respect there. But then when they flew to LA to do the second press conference, and they had him hold up the jersey, so he's a little more composed in this picture. He's obviously not crying. He's smiling. He's holding up the jersey. This is such an important trade in hockey history, in sports history, and this is an important trading card because this was the first time the Topps said, hey, we can show a picture that's not an action photo, and it's okay because this is so important. We just have to, this has to be up to date. And on top of that, it also showed off the new jersey, the new Kings colors. And this led to other companies doing the same thing. This kind of opened the floodgates, because think a year ahead to the 89-90 Hoops basketball set and David Robinson at the press conference with the San Antonio Spurs jersey, right? Like, this made it okay for other companies to do that.
Yeah, you kind of forget that this was definitely not common. If it wasn't a headshot of a guy or a close-up shot of a guy or an action shot of a guy in pretty much any of the sports. I mean, baseball was a little different because it had been around a longer, and at this point you had a bunch of different manufacturers had already jumped in, and they were all trying to put different kooky photos to get people to, buy packs and buy their product. But yeah, I can't think of anything else that existed prior to that. And then afterward, then you always saw it in lots of cards and lots of packs across all sports. So yeah, it is very pivotal.
Yeah. So like I said, it was an important card because it kind of made it okay. Although, I mean, granted, we were kind of seeing this. Well, no, I think this is really the first card to do this, because then you start thinking of like some of those like 89 score football and 90 pro set, whatever. And, like football, like the draft picks and stuff. Right. And they didn't necessarily have to show the guy in a game. I know like the baseball cards used a lot of post shots, but a lot of times those were at spring training or at like, practice or something. So it was still in like a baseball setting. It wasn't necessarily like a game photo. And a lot of like the hockey photos were from like, sometimes they were from practices, sometimes they were from warm-ups, right? Once in a while they were from games. I mean, sometimes more often and sometimes less so, but or like you said, or like a headshot, right? Because those you could always get away with. But yeah, this was important for the Topps card. And then O-Pee-Chee, when they came out a few months later, because O-Pee-Chee usually came out in January, they had a posed picture of Gretzky on the ice in the Kings jersey, in the Kings uniform, right? In the home white uniform. It's a nice looking card. I mean, I like both of them, but I'm obviously going to lean towards the Topps version because, well, it's the Topps version, right? And I'm American, right? USA, because it's a little more significant. Because although Gretzky is Gretzky, and that's still an awesome card, we had a lot of cards. Like, couldn't you just see that picture on a 68, 69 Topps card? The horizontal with the green background.
Yeah, I mean, that's that typical posed photo that was used a lot.
Right. At least he's not wearing plaid pants like Phil Esposito was.
Yeah. Or like the crazy Cooperalls or something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd have been funny. Yeah. So really cool that Gretzky's, just how the Gretzky trade affected trading cards. And then what's kind of funny is that on the wax boxes of O-Pee-Chee cards, they actually show the Topps version of the card on the side, but with an O-Pee-Chee logo. But then when the kids would buy the packs, they would never actually find that card, right? Like, they used the Topps version on the packaging to make it look like, oh, look, there's a Gretzky card in here, and he's with the Kings jersey. But then the one that they actually got was, I mean, arguably a better card. Again, I like the press conference.
Talk about a bait and switch.
A little bit, yeah. Kind of like the 90-91. Remember how the upper deck boxes had used the Gretzky promo?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, I can't.
And the one you pulled, you're like, wait, this doesn't match that. What is this?
This is not the thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the design itself, because I've picked apart this design a million times in my article, in my head, to anybody who would listen. We refer to it as the pushpin design, or did you call it the thumbtack? I call it the pushpin.
I called it the bulletin board design.
It is a bulletin board design. It has very like kind of like a scrapbook look to it, although bulletin board's a better analogy. I also say it has a very pop art look to it, right? Because you have bright colors, you have that drop shadow that's like that kind of dot pattern, like where the name, there's like that, I call it the post-it note. So I say it's like a post-it note, a push pin, and like neon piping. But because sometimes, especially, you have kind of like bright green or bright pink or whatever. So it tends to use a lot of bright colors for like the borders and like the push pin. It's kind of a ridiculous design. It has nothing to do with hockey. And I kind of like that, right? Because it's not just like, here, let's just put a puck on it. Okay, let's put a stick on it. Well, that's 87, 88, right? Here's a stick, here's a puck, go, right? And this is just like, this could have been New Kids on the Block. This could have been something. This could have been Yo MTV Raps, right? I mean, it's more. It definitely has a very 80s flair to it, wouldn't you say?
Well, based on previous year's design, they could have left the push pin off, and it still would have looked like many of the other hockey card designs that were out there, and came across the same way as like, oh, this is a board, and here's like little nameplate shifted and turned. It would have the kind of the same feel, but they added that weird cartoony looking push pin to it that just, it contrasts with it, but it also makes it its own unique feel. And it's cartoony and typical of what we would find in late 80s design, I think.
Yeah, and I wonder if they just said to the designer, I don't care, just do what you want. It's hockey. Nobody buys hockey. Or if they were really trying to like be fun with this. I mean, like I said, I'm nostalgic.
Well, and the other thing too, you got that drop. Look, you got the drop shadow on the nameplate, and it's like stippled.
Yep.
So it kind of reminds you of like those super close-up photos of like 50s style comics.
Yeah.
Almost, which made a comeback in the 80s.
Yeah, but like how Andy Warhol would like take like a comic panel and like paint it super huge, so you'd see the dots really big, you know,
right.
kind of. Right. That's why I said kind of has like a pop art feel to it because of the bright colors, but also because of like that kind of half toning look of like the dots.
We should take this Lanny McDonald card and do the 4-panel thing.
Oh,
yeah, I take that back. Upper Deck already did that.
Oh,
with their Ultra a few years ago.
Did they?
Yeah.
Like, are you talking about like the bright, like the Marilyn Monroe paintings?
Yeah. The box covers. I have one right here.
Okay. Yeah.
The with pop culture. Remember those?
Hang on a second. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, that was.
Is that a box topper?
Yeah, it was Flair Ultra pop culture. That's what they were.
Oh,
and then you could pull each of those cards with them being more scarce depending on which one. But that was.
So you put them in So did you put them in a big holder together? Were they separate?
No, this is a box topper. It's a full size, like, what is this, 5x7?
Yeah, 5x7.
Yeah, but you could pull these out of packs, just the individual cards.
I see. Got it.
Yeah, but of course it's Flair Ultra, and you wouldn't have any pack per se because these are e-pack. But
okay.
So that's what it reminds me of, because if you look closely with those, you probably can't see it on the screen, but you could see the dots.
Oh yeah, no, I could. The
closer you get, you see the dots. So.
Hang on, hold it up.
That's my.
Oh, sorry. I'm trying to.
There, you can see the dots on there.
Oh.
Now I went away.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, all right.
There you can see
technology.
The dots.
Yeah.
Look at that. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, there. That's my show and tell.
Yeah, very cool. So anyway, typical, player name, position, team logo, Topps O-Pee-Chee logo. I think it's a very colorful design. I love it. I always hope that, like, if Topps were to get the hockey license, I would love to see this come back. But you know what? I was thinking today about what an absolute, show that trading cards have become in the other 3 major team sports. And I'm kind of glad that we're not a party to that. Like, we hear about it, but I'm just so glad because I see so much stuff about, oh, this basketball card, oh, this baseball card, right? And I'm just like, we get that a little bit with hockey, but definitely I feel like the Topps Fanatics machine is feeding a lot of that. So I'm kind of glad we're not a party to that. But if we were, I would hope that like we'd start to see designs like this come back. And of course because why wouldn't they? Because they do that with baseball every year.
That's why I always say yet, because I feel like the wind is blowing that way.
So the card backs actually use a little bit of a hockey design element. In the corner is a puck with the card number, which I think is nice. Typical of Topps and O-Pee-Chee sets, they list out a player's complete statistics. And what I find really cool is that Topps and O-Pee-Chee would also list out the player's World Hockey Association statistics if they had any. When you got into like Pro Set and Score and Upper Deck in the 90s, well, they didn't really list out a lot of the stats, like 10 years of stats or 20 years of stats. They would just list out maybe 1 or 3 years of stats, but they never made any mention of WHA. So it's kind of cool that cards of like Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier and Mike Liut and Michel Goulet have WHA stats on them because they played in that league, and Topps and O-Pee-Chee acknowledge that. And I always thought that was cool.
Wasn't that a league rule, though? Didn't the NHL want to bury as much of that as they could and just not even address it for the longest time?
I don't know. I mean, because Topps and O-Pee-Chee continued to put WHA stats on their cards. And I mean, remember in the early 80s, a lot of those guys played in the WHA. So you were going to have that, but you saw that a lot. I think they didn't want them just being, I know like 72, 73 O-Pee-Chee, there were WHA cards in like the high series O-Pee-Chee pack. So it was a mix of NHL and WHA cards. And I think the NHL didn't like that. I think that was what they had a problem with, but I don't know, like
and
acknowledging
their own separate set.
Yeah. But acknowledging that another league exists. I mean, kind of hard. I mean, especially when like half the guys or however many of the players had played in that league before, you know?
Well, of course there's the whole, they stole their best player.
Well, yeah.
Or one of, but yeah.
Oh, back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to look at some of the best rookie cards from Topps. I'm going to talk about the Topps cards first because O-Pee-Chee only has an additional 66 cards. And I mean, it's like if we say, oh, look at the Brett Hull Topps rookie. Well, okay, the Brett Hull O-Pee-Chee rookie is also a good card, right? So if it's in the Topps set, it's also in the O-Pee-Chee set. Although later on, we'll talk about some of the cards that are just in the O-Pee-Chee set. So first got to go with Brett Hull, card number 66, which is considered the most valuable card in the set. Probably the best rookie card in the set. I mean, there's a lot of rookie cards in the set, and there's some that I'm like overlooking just because, you know, do we really? Okay, Ulf Dahlin has a rookie card. Do we need to talk about it? I guess I just did, right?
I mean, I wanted to talk about the Bob Joyce card, but go ahead.
Well, what about Bob Joyce?
Nothing. I was joking.
Okay. So we got Brett Hull. We got Brendan Shanahan. So they got rookie cards in the Topps and O-Pee-Chee sets. Like both of those cards. Like the Hull card, obviously been airbrushed because it was a photo of him with the Calgary Flames, but that's okay. It's close enough. Like it's close up enough that they didn't have to like try to draw a janky looking Blues logo on it. Could you imagine if they did to Brett Hull what they did to Warren Young on Brett Hull's rookie card? So Warren Young was a Penguin, for those of you who don't know. And then he went to the Red Wings and he went back to the Penguins and they painted this horrible Penguins jersey on him. So,
I mean, judging by this picture, they could have at least like gave him a helmet and like faked the helmet out of his hair. They could have pulled that off.
Dude, he has a hair helmet. He has the best helmet ever.
Right.
Yeah.
They could have made it into a helmet, just give him a chin strap. So.
Yeah. And then the Shanahan rookie card is kind of cool because it's a close-up. You're kind of looking up at him a little bit. I just think it's a neat photo. I kind of like these close-ups, like Topps was really good at having like a variety of like shots. Of course, most of them are like boring, standing around in practice kind of shots. But, when they did a close-up that was decent, I'm all for it.
As young as Shanahan looks in that photo,
Yep.
he still kind of looks the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even though he's a lot older, he still kind of looks the same.
Kind of has that boyish look to him a bit, yeah. All right, then got to mention Joe Nieuwendyk, who won Rookie of the Year in '88, and Pierre Turgeon, who was inducted in the Hockey Hall of Fame a little more recently. Both of these Hall of Famers, but more significant rookie cards. I think let's just take a look at something here. I've just got a fistful of these right here. Yep. Just double. Yep. Yeah. He won the Calder, won the cup with the Flames, and then later with the Dallas Stars. And he was also in a very important trade. Do you remember that trade?
Nieuwendyk?
Yeah.
When he went to Dallas?
Yeah. For?
I forget. You got me on the spot.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
Yes, you were. This is sabotage. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Who was
it? Give you a hint. He was traded for someone who became a very important Flames player in the 2000s. The most important Flames player in the 2000s.
Oh, did they get Iginla out of that deal?
Yeah, Jarome Iginla.
I always forget that he was part of the Stars organization at first.
I know, right? Isn't that weird? Because he was, but he never played for them.
Never played for him, yeah.
Yeah, and talk about okay, Dallas gave up a franchise player to get Joe Nieuwendyk, but then without Joe Nieuwendyk, they wouldn't have won the Stanley Cup. So, right? Like, what do you?
Hall of Famer for Hall of Famer, but you get a cup out of it. I'm sure you'd make that trade.
Yeah, I agree. Just an interesting tidbit there. And
I forgot that. I hate myself.
No, don't hate yourself. Look,
because I forgot about it.
Look, you forget more than most people will know, so don't worry about it. You're good. But recently on Spitting Chicklets, they had a interview with Pierre Turgeon. I recommend you check it out. It was very good. It was very funny. He talked about like wanting to buy like an expensive sports car with like one of his first paychecks, and how his agent was like, no, you can't do that. But it was a good overall. It was a good interview. Very funny guy, interesting guy.
Tells good stories.
Yeah, definitely. A couple more. Speaking of telling good stories, so Bob Probert, I would consider the toughest player of his era. You think of late 80s to like mid 90s. Who was tougher than Bob Probert? There were a lot of tough guys then, but really, it was like Probert was the guy that everybody wanted to beat. And actually, this is a pretty popular rookie card. Interestingly, both the Probert and the Hull Topps cards are double printed, so they're a little bit easier to find than the O-Pee-Chee versions. But that's not saying much, because that's not saying that the other ones aren't findable. I'm just saying that you tend to see a few more Bob Proberts out there than you think you would, because the Topps one was double printed. So I included him here on this because he was a important player, significant player, interesting player, liked player, and he wrote a really good book called Tough Guy. Darren Pang I included because I like Darren Pang. He's, I would argue, one of the most popular color commentators. Now he's with TNT. He's also back with the Blackhawks. He was with the Coyotes for a while. He was with the Blues for a while. Gretzky told a story about playing in a Blues alumni game and how Darren Pang was the goalie, even though he never played for the Blues. He was their broadcaster at the time, and he talked about how Pang got a bigger round of applause from the Blues fan than Blues fans than Gretzky did. And I just think that's a funny story.
Well, that marriage didn't last long. So, I mean, I can understand why the Blues fans would, even if it was in a good ribbing, booing Gretzky.
Well, I don't think they booed him. I think he just said that Pang got more of an applause because he was more popular, or he was just popular as their broadcaster. That's all I'm saying. Funny story about this card though. Darren Pang doesn't like it because he's sitting on the bench, and I remember reading in it was either Hockey Card Stories or Hockey Card Stories 2 by Ken Reed. I can't remember. It was one of those two books. He talked with Darren Pang about this card, and he just said that, yeah, when he got it, he was excited to get a card, but then he looked, he's like, oh, I'm on the bench. It's terrible. That means I'm the backup, and so when the photographer was running around taking hockey card photos for the 89-90 set, and he saw Pang and he said, hey, I want to take your picture. And Pang was like, okay, here's what you're going to do. And he put on his helmet first. And then he made sure that the photographer was taking the picture of him kind of looking up at him a little bit. So, because he didn't want to look like he was just some scrub on the bench. So I just thought that was funny, but I like this card.
It also doesn't do him any favors to show that he's not 5'5", sitting on the bench, because even sitting, he looks a foot shorter than everybody else.
Yeah, Wayne Presley next to him looks giant compared to Darren Pang. But yeah, so a couple of rookie cards that I thought were worth talking about. And I just want to point this out because this is something I wrote about for Hockey News couple years, maybe 5-6 years ago, in the cards column. I just thought this was so cool. Like, the more I looked into the Brett Hull rookie card and the Bobby Hull rookie card, and it's almost like you can't unsee it, right? Because I look at these two cards. Okay. So the Brett Hull card is 88-89 Topps, number 66. The Bobby Hull card, 58-59 Topps, also card number 66. Both head and shoulder shots.
Ooh.
And they're both kind of just looking up, looking up and off into the distance, like looking up into the stands, maybe. So I just thought it was
looking at the scoreboard,
maybe,
or
maybe,
looking at the flag and during the anthem.
could be, but I just thought that was such a cool coincidence, right? Like, the more I looked at these two cards, I'm like, wow, these two are really kind of similar, right? Card number 66, 30 years apart, similar photo. I don't know.
I think the Brett Hull one has to be before a game. I think the Bobby Hull one is more of a staged picture because it doesn't look like he's got pads on underneath that jersey.
No, but he was a strong dude. He
had really broad shoulders. I mean, I've seen the pictures of him from working on the farm.
Yeah.
Like those old photos of him with no shirt on.
Yep.
Good Lord. Yeah. So, but still, you can tell if they had shoulder pads on because that would beef those up a little higher.
This is true. Yeah.
Even with the super thin ones they had back then.
Yeah. Like paper towels.
Yeah.
So Brett Hull and Bobby Hull rookie cards are pretty similar.
I don't think I realized they were both number 66.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that had to be intentional.
Oh, and both the most valuable cards in their respective sets.
That had to be intentional by Topps.
I hope so.
Yeah. If it was an accident, it was a good accident.
So some of the cards I want to talk about, some of the other Topps hockey cards. I mean, of course, there's Mario Lemieux and Steve Yzerman. And what's funny is that now looking at these cards, they're like the same pose. They're like both ready to take a face off. And I never realized that until now, right? I mean,
just imagine if this was the picture, but if it was the wide angle and they just cropped them.
I want AI to like put these two photos together. I mean, the boards even look similar.
They do. They got the
Yeah.
yellow top, yellow bottom.
Yeah, hey, could happen. Maybe we can make this happen. Maybe I'll do a little photoshopping tonight. But anyways, so yeah, so you got, of course, you got all your Hall of Famers are in there, all your big names are in there. So Mario and Steve Yzerman, of course, Marcel Dionne's last card as an active player, because 88-89 was his last season. He retired that summer, so he was not in the 89-90 set. So just kind of a cool card, because it's like, he had such a long career, and was, when he retired, he had the third most points behind Howe was still number one at that point, and then Gretzky was number two, and Dionne was number three. So just a cool, I think a cool card. And then, of course, you got Patrick Waugh, who looks very chill. Also, he's got the towel around his neck, so maybe he's not playing that night. Maybe he's backing up.
I don't know. I think that was part of his warm-up ritual.
Okay.
Earlier, before he put the full gear on, just kind of skating around.
Yeah. But, I complain about warm-up shots being kind of boring, but I like the goalie ones where they're not wearing their helmets. I think they're cool. Of course, the ones where they're wearing their helmets are also cool, because we like goalie helmets and goalie masks and stuff. But
well, it's different because you get card after card after card with them in their mask, and if it's a picture taken from enough distance, you can't really see their face. So,
right.
5, 6, 7 years into it, you finally get a card where it has them unmasked, and you're like, who the heck is this guy?
Right. Yeah, because his rookie card, he's wearing a mask, and then his second year card, he's wearing a mask, and then so this is the first card where he's not wearing a mask. At least first Topps or O-Pee-Chee card. The Dennis Savard card is cool because he looks like he just took the draw. Like the other, he's like kind of like at a face-off circle against the New Jersey Devils player, and so I think that was just a cool card because it shows some action. You just don't see in this set. You just don't see a heck of a lot of action. So when you do get action shots, you just have to appreciate them that much more. Not like 90-91 Upper Deck where you could write a book about all the action shots and that, or even 84-85 Topps and O-Pee-Chee. But this one, stands out just because there's actually it's going on during the game.
I think, judging by your choices for pictures here to show, you have an affinity for guys with mustaches and look like they should be singing in Toto.
Yeah, and then we got Michel Goulet, and I like that card because he's kind of laughing, smiling.
It's because he heard my joke just now.
Yeah. Goulet's a cool dude. Savard's a cool dude. A lot of these guys are, when you meet them, they're great. Mark Messier, of course, he has a card in that set, and I had to include it. Just talk about it because it's Mark Messier. And there it looks like the face-off is about to happen, but, so it's not quite like game action, but it's like the game is about to happen because you could see him and the Bruins player. They're both anticipating the puck being dropped, and they're just kind of waiting to move in on that, to maybe help out their centerman. And then,
he's definitely out on the wing there.
Yeah. Even though the card says center, he's definitely wing there. And then Gilles Malache, right? I like this card. So he actually retired after the 87-88 season. So he shouldn't have technically had a card in 88-89. But I like this card because I think he was such a great goalie. I actually have this card signed. I don't know. It's just a cool freaking hockey card, right? I mean, he's got the Penguins, the black and gold jersey. He's got the old brown pads. Probably a warm-up shot, but he looks like he's ready. It's just so cool to like you're almost eye level with him, like you're taking the shot against him.
Malache is a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a very great guy, very humble, and he'll talk hockey with you for a while.
Yeah.
He was a Penguin for a good time, not a long time, but great player too.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes you wonder if he had ended up on like a better team instead of playing for, like the California Golden Seals, the Cleveland Barons, and the Minnesota North Stars. So he played for 3 different teams without getting traded.
I mean, you got to give him this. At least with the North Stars, he got a bunch of playoff experience in
Yep.
the early '80s because the North Stars were always a perennial contender for the playoffs. But
Yep.
once he went to Pittsburgh, that was the end of that because that was the early years of Mario being on the team, and they had no help around him. So it was just kind of a fledgling team trying to find their way.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember, I kind of remember him more as the goaltenders coach for the team.
Right.
And he was goalie coach when Fleury was there. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a couple of the airbrushed cards. I'll describe these for those who are listening, right? So we got a card of Brent Ashton, and he got traded to the Winnipeg Jets. So they kind of painted a helmet on him. Looks a little bit like a bowling ball, especially where they kind of put like some bright spots, like they tried to simulate like this is where the light is reflecting off the helmet, but it kind of looks like you should put your fingers in there to bowl. And then they like airbrushed like his shoulder, but it looks really weird because there's no number there. There's no name. Like you're kind of seeing like there should be like part of his name there. And so it just looks really odd. What do you call it? The curtain or the haircut? When they put a thing over you when you get your haircut?
A bowl cut?
No, the cape they put on you when you get your haircut.
Oh, the apron?
The apron. Isn't that what you called it?
I don't know. Did I? I forget. I forget what I say.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they went with the metallic paint job. There were no helmets that were metallic then.
No. It's a really nice looking helmet. I'd wear that helmet.
It looks like a helmet from Tron.
Yeah, it kind of does. And then Jimmy Carson, who was part of the Gretzky trade. So the guys that were involved in the Gretzky trade who had cards that year, they got the airbrush treatment. So and we're going to talk about another one that was in the O-Pee-Chee set a little later. But Jimmy Carson, they did kind of a halfway decent job. I don't even think they changed the helmet. That might just be a King's purple helmet. And it looks like they didn't really do much to the helmet because it looks normal. Like if you look at like the glare on it, it looks normal, right?
Yeah.
All they really changed was like the jersey, so that it looks like he's wearing a Oilers jersey. And I think they did actually a halfway decent job on this. I think at like first glance, you wouldn't even know that this photo was altered.
They may have did a color shift on it a little bit just to get less purpley.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, they didn't airbrush it, I don't think. Unlike the Ashton photo. That's the other thing about the Ashton photo. It's almost like you see how blurry his face is compared to the rest.
Yeah.
It's almost like they didn't have a picture of him, but they found him on the side of another picture. So they just zoomed in on it and used that. It's just super weird.
Yeah. Well, a lot of hockey cards in the 80s were definitely super weird. Now, a couple cards that I like just the photography of, another New Jersey Devils player. So it seems like a lot of these photos were taken at Devils games, which is why you always see Devils in the backgrounds, Devils or Bruins or Capitals. That seemed to be kind of like the big three where they would take these photos. But this
late
one
70s was definitely Capitals.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Heavy Capitals.
So this Aaron Broughton card on the New Jersey Devils, I just like it. It's a cool portrait. Definitely like probably the photographer said, "Hey, can I take your picture?" Right? Because he's looking right at the camera. The background is black, like on purpose. It's like dark. I mean, could be something behind them, but maybe like not all the lights were on or something. But it's just a good photo, right? Like it's in focus. He's got on the CCM helmet and the visor, so it looks cool. He's got the A for alternate captain, right? So like, it's just to me, that's like just a cool hockey card photo. Like if I was going to get one card signed by Aaron Broughton, it would probably be this one or his pro set card, because I get all the pro set cards signed. And then on the other hand, you got Eddie Olczyk, who's standing during the national anthem, and they're probably playing the Star Spangled Banner, because you could see a New Jersey Devils fan in the background, but also he's looking up and the other guys are looking down. So I'm betting they're playing the Star Spangled Banner, and Olczyk, being from Chicago, is looking up at the American flag. Now, I'm just speculating here, but I think that's what's happening. That's the story I told myself in my mind when I looked at this hockey card as a kid.
He's also the only one with his head up, because he had just finished telling the referee to get away from him because he was trying to listen to the song.
Right. Yeah,
So,
I mean, I don't know who the guy is on the left side of the card. I know that's Al Secord on the other side, because number 20, and that was Secord's number. They were traded together to the Maple Leafs from the Blackhawks in the same trade. So this was like the first card of Eddie O as a Maple Leaf. Although technically,
you can't see his number. The
Who?
other guy.
No, you can't. That's okay.
The guy on his right, but he's taller than him. I can tell you that.
Right.
With his head down, they're the same height.
Yeah. So those are a couple of cards that I like. Got a couple more though. Roland Melanson, LA Kings goaltender, taking a swig from the water bottle. I just thought that was a cool picture, probably from, a timeout or something, or TV timeout, or it can't be from a warm up, because he's, just a little early for a drink of water, I think. It could be. I don't know. I like this picture. Maybe splashing his face with the water. I don't know. I just always thought that was a cool picture, because he's, drinking water.
Different.
It's different, right? And then on the other hand, I got this card of Mike Bullard, who looks like he's just having a bad day. It looks like he's about to fall backwards. His helmet's on crooked. He looks like the guy who overslept and is like late to work and is like rushing to catch the bus. Right? Wait, no, wait, hold on, wait, oh no, because look at the look on his face, and then, like I said, like the helmet and like his hair stuck to his forehead, and then like the way he's holding the stick, it doesn't even look right. Like it looks like he's like kind of like, I don't want to say falling backwards, but it's just an awkward photo. So it makes me laugh.
Another famous mustache too.
Oh, it was the 80s. Everybody had a mustache.
Well, Andy Reid still has that mustache. So
it's the Tom Selleck effect. Who?
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid.
Coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Remember, preseason football guy here, right? I know just enough to understand the rules of the game, but I know who Andy Reid is. Okay, now that you mention it, yes.
Mike Bullard, the other guy on Clemente's favorite Mario Lemieux rookie card.
Oh yeah,
the 7-11 card.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he is on that card.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway. Okay, so a couple of the O-Pee-Chee cards. So kind of odd that like 87, 88, 88, 89, you had like just 200. Let's see. O-Pee-Chee was 396 cards in 84, 85. Then 85, 86, 86, 87, 87, 88, 88, 89. It was only 264 cards. And for like, let me see, 3 of those years, those last 3 years, they were only just a little bit bigger than Topps. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, that's so close in size, right? It's just like, hey, hockey is super popular in Canada. All right, let's just add another 66 cards, right? It was kind of like, I don't know, maybe hockey was dying for them a little bit, and then you had the explosion in the 90s. I mean, any thoughts on that? Like,
well, if you were going to have more, you had to add them enough that they would fit on a printing sheet, right?
Yeah. So I guess if you weren't going to do 396, you had to do 264.
Right. It had to be something that was divisible.
Except for that year, they did 330, which is just anarchy. I tell you, anarchy.
Yeah. Well, that's how you end up with so many double prints.
Dude, I got to tell you, those double prints, I'm trying to finish I'm piecing together a 72-73 Topps hockey set, 176 cards. What insane person decided we should make the set 176 cards?
I don't know who was in charge back then.
Yeah. So like when I build extras of sets, I usually stick to the ones that are like 132, because they're manageable. But when you have like those 84, 85 tops or 85, 86 tops with 165, again, crazy.
Yeah.
So 264 is normal. So a couple of the rookie cards in the O-Pee-Chee set. So O-Pee-Chee, of course, has the Bob Probert rookie card and the Brett Hull rookie card and Joe Nieuwendyk and Pierre Turgeon and Brendan Shanahan and all the other ones that, if it's in Topps, it's in O-Pee-Chee, right? But a couple of the ones that are unique in the O-Pee-Chee set, Uwe Krupp, card number 220. I like that card because he looks like he's just about ready to, I don't know, cry. He looks a little upset in that photo. It's not a great photo for a rookie card, but I will say though that I believe Uwe Krupp was probably the first star German player in the NHL, because I can't really think of another German before him who was as impactful. He wasn't a superstar, right? He wasn't like a like a Ray Bourque or a Nicholas Lidstrom, or even a Sergei Fedorov on defense, like you said. But Krupp was, he was a big dude. He was I think he was the tallest player in the league at the time, and he was good, and he was part of that Colorado Avalanche Stanley Cup winning team. So I picked that out as well.
He's the reason they won the cup.
Yeah. What
that overtime winner?
Yeah.
96?
Yeah, 96. Yeah.
I think this is only 8 years earlier, where he looks like he's just in high school.
Yeah. I don't know, I also
the Brillo pad hair is pretty cool though.
It's a nice haircut. Another hair helmet. I like it. But then I also picked Steve Smith, who played for the Edmonton Oilers, played for the Chicago Blackhawks, played for the Calgary Flames. I mean, bounced around a little bit after with the Blackhawks, but he was just a solid defenseman. I mean, played in the All-Star game a few times. The card erroneously says now with Sabres, but that was a different Steve Smith, who was, I think he was a minor leaguer for the Sabres. So
how could they mess that up? It's not like that's a common name or anything.
Right. I know. Exactly.
Might as well have been Bob Jones.
Right. But, I think as a Blackhawk fan, for me, getting this Steve Smith card years later when he was on the Hawks, and I look and I go, oh, that's his rookie card. Oh, that's cool. What's this now with Sabres, right? Like, it didn't make sense to me because I'm like, no, he's not with the Sabres. He was with the Oilers. And, but like I said, different guy, like, was it Greg Adams? Remember there were two Greg Adams in the NHL at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we got some of that silliness right now. Like
Sebastian Aho comes to mind.
Yeah. They need to figure that out. Like, okay, you're Sebastian Aho and you can be Sebastian J. Aho. And then the Canucks.
I just refer to them as the good one and the other one.
The good one and the other one. And then is it Elias Pettersson? There's two of those now?
I think there might be three now.
They need to figure that shit out. I'm sorry. It's like, okay, you can be like, what's your middle initial? It's T. Okay, you could be E.T. Pettersson or something, right? Like they just need to do something about that.
They should rename their last names. So you could have Pettersson, Peterson, and Pettersson.
Okay.
That's how we can distinguish it.
One semester I had, I was teaching a web design class, and I am not exaggerating, I had 6 men named Alex in my class. I had 6 Alexes. And then there was
I don't think I've ever even known 6 Alexes.
There were 6 Alexes in my class, and then there was a woman named Alexa.
Oh, did you ask her to do stuff?
This was I think this was before the Alexa was a thing.
Oh,
Or it could have been Alexandria or something. But I was just like, and I looked and it was like, remember in Shoresy, Jim, and Jim? And it's like,
Yes.
well, can I give you guys different names? I like to be called Jim. I also like to be called Jim. I also like to be called Jim, right? That's what it was like when I had all those Alexes, right? And I'm like, well, can't you be? One of them was at least like, I like to go by Xander. And I'm like, okay, you're Xander. Cool. But it's like, I like to be Alex. I like to be Alex. I'm like, can't you be Lex? And can't you be Alexander? And can't we just like call you AJ or something? It's just so.
If one of them said, you can call me Al, I would have been like, yes, perfect.
Perfect. Okay, so the Wayne Gretzky trade, obviously, O-Pee-Chee went and they got a nice photo of Gretzky posed on the ice wearing the new Kings uniform. But one of the players that went along with him for the trade, Mike Krushelinski, wasn't so lucky because they didn't say, hey, Mike, we're going to take Wayne's picture. Why don't you show up at the rink and let us take your picture too? Nope. Instead, they just took a photo of him in an Oilers uniform and just painted a Kings jersey on him. And it is just whack. It is just like one of the worst hockey cards ever made. Definitely a member of the Bad Hockey Card Hall of Fame because this airbrush work, this paint job on this card, I'll say the best thing about this paint job might be the Kings logo on the jersey because everything else about it is just whack.
It's like artwork on the cover of a romance novel.
What is with the shine on that helmet?
I have no idea.
I mean,
that's the kind of light shadowing of like daylight, not fake lights.
It looks like but it looks kind of like there's like I know you said it doesn't look like fake lights, but it looks like there's a floodlight about 3 feet over his head. Because look at how he's
that too.
Yeah, I mean it's just weird. And then look at all that heavy shadowing on the jersey.
Yeah, there's zero reason that there should be A, that many wrinkles in it.
Right.
And B, that type of shadowing.
Right. And then like look at like even like I mean this is such a minor detail, but he's wearing a white jersey, right? And what color is the New Jersey Devils jersey? The guy next to him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, he's wearing a white jersey and the guy that he's playing against is also wearing a white jersey. So that Mike Krushelinski card is just freaking terrible.
And I would say maybe it was a gray jersey and the highlights are the white part, but they didn't have gray.
Mm-mm.
So.
Yeah, but when have you ever seen a gray jersey have white, like from bright light, right?
It could be that spotlight that's right above his head.
Yeah, that's true. But then we got really heavy shadows on it as well. So it's just really just a weird card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus whatever that thing is in the corner by his elbow. It's like a blurred out blob of black.
Sometimes they would do that on the photos. They would put a little bit of paint to cover up people's faces if they looked like they were too in focus or something.
None of these have background focused at all. Mostly.
No, but yeah, they had to blob something out there. So I don't know. But
witness protection.
I
mean, it was LA, right? So it could have been ex-mafia. You don't know.
You don't know. Couple more interesting cards. Gaetan Duchesne, average NHL, a respectable career. Throwing no shade on him. I just like this card because he's wearing a fishbowl. That is, he's wearing an iTech visor with the cage on the bottom. Probably because he had maybe a cut or maybe a broken jaw or something. I don't know. But it's just such a funky photo because you don't see those in the NHL. You see them in college hockey all the time. You see them in women's hockey all the time. But in the 80s, nobody was wearing full facial protection. In fact, somebody in the 80s wearing a visor, you would do a double take like, huh? Visor? Oh, that's weird. Okay, cool, right? Like, oh, visor. I didn't know Rick Vive was playing today, or Pierre Turgeon, or Aaron Broughton, right? There was a few players who wore visors, but they were very uncommon. So for me to see a card of a guy wearing a helmet like this, which is the helmet that I type of face mask I wear as an adult, but also as a kid when I started playing hockey. I tried the full cage, didn't like it, switched to the fishbowl, which had like the clear visor part and then the cage part at the bottom. And so I just think that's like just a funky card. And then Lanny McDonald, just an interesting card, not a great photo, but kind of weird that Lanny wasn't in the top set, considering that he was like the Flames captain or co-captain. I mean, there he's wearing the captaincy. And the Flames were a pretty darn good team, but the fact that he would have been only in the O-Pee-Chee set, but not in the top set, just, I don't know, it seemed like a little bit of an oversight. I mean, the guy was pretty much, we all knew he was going to be in the Hall of Fame when he retired. So it just seemed weird to like just not have him in the top set because he was such an important player at that point.
Again, I see you chose famous mustache for a card. Just want to point that out.
That's the most famous mustache.
Pretty much, yeah.
If you're talking about Lanny and mustaches, I mean that's the mic drop of mustaches.
And the face cage. The last time I remember a player wearing one was Chara when he got his jaw broken. Remember when he took the puck to the jaw?
Yeah.
His jaw was broken. He wore the full face cage.
Well, what about when Connor Bedard?
Yeah, I don't pay attention to him.
Oh, okay. He also wore a bubble.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to him. I let everybody else pay attention to him.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about him anymore.
Sorry.
He talked down too much.
Yeah, I know. And I brought him up.
He sucked the air out of every room we've been in for the last 2 years.
Oh, that's not his. Is it his fault or is it the Hobby Bros fault?
He's a product of the environment, I guess. So I guess I can blame him.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, okay. So we got to talk about an error card, a very famous error card. Why don't you take the point on this one? It's number 229, Kevin Lowe.
Well, Hockey Hall of Famer Kevin Lowe. Great career, solid player, contributed quite a bit to the Stanley Cup winning Oilers and their dynasty, if you will. If you look on the back of the card and you go through his stats, you'll notice how good of a player he was. I mean, look at some of those goals that he had. I mean, in 81, 82 alone, I mean, what do you have, 92 goals?
92 goals and 120 assists.
Those
are some Gretzky-like numbers.
That's Gretzky-like numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. These are Gretzky's numbers because somehow, some way, they inadvertently put Gretzky's stats on the back of Kevin Lowe's card. So it makes him look way better than he actually was.
What's funny is they got the 87-88 stats right and the game-winning goals stats right and the playoff stats right, but all the other stats and the career totals, including World Hockey Association, like they just use Gretzky stats and then they put in some of his stats at the end. So yeah, it's a pretty funny error card because it's like nobody noticed, like, wow, Kevin Lowe, stay-at-home defenseman, 43 goals, 51 goals, 55 goals, 92 goals, 71 goals, 67 goals, 73 goals, 52 goals, 62. Oh my God, that is crazy.
And even he knew his card was messed up by the photo on the front because they were like, Kevin, here's your card. He's like, oh, cool. And he flipped it over and he went, oh.
And then they took that photo and somehow used it on the front of the card.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. So yeah, pretty big error there. So what if you have the set already, right? You got the whole top set, got the whole O-Pee-Chee set. Definitely advocate collecting both. They're both small enough to collect. They're both affordable enough to collect. And
pretty
I think
easily found too.
What's that?
Pretty easily found too.
Yeah, and
top cards.
And I think they're unique enough. Like okay, if you look at like 91, 92, they're the same set size, same card, same everything, right? So that one, you pick one or the other. 90, 91, I'd say go for the O-Pee-Chee set because the top set isn't really unique. But 88, 89, I feel like the top set is cool enough to get that one, even if just for the Gretzky card. But it's affordable. So if you have both of these sets, we want to talk about some of the other things that you can collect, kind of like the addendums, right? And the first thing is the top stickers, especially if you're a Canadian collector who has the O-Pee-Chee set. Go find yourself a set of the top stickers. You won't break the bank on it. It's 12 all-star stickers and 21 team logo stickers that also had numbers. Sometimes they had little hockey puck stickers. And I think sometimes they'd say, put a hockey puck sticker on your stick every time you score a goal or something. Did you ever do that as a kid?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Did you put them on your stick or did you put them on like the side of your helmet?
I put them on the posts of the net that I had.
Oh, okay.
And I also stuck these stickers all over a drawer I had at home on a dresser. So
Really?
I did that too. Now, if you're going to go after the stickers, you'd be remiss if you didn't collect both variants of the stickers.
Oh, yeah. Please elaborate on that.
Well, once you get past, I think the Flyers. The Flyers are 26. Yeah. Cards 27 through 33 have two variants where one set of cards would have the team logo on top and the numbers on the bottom. And then there would also be a version where they were flipped with bottom and top. It's essentially the same card, but if you're a completist and you want to have everything, just know that there's top side and bottom side.
Yep, and this guy got them all. I got them. Yeah, I think, and it's funny because I didn't really know about that at the time. When I collected the set, maybe I put the sticker set together. Maybe that's why I was buying additional packs, because of the stickers. But yeah, like years later, I kind of figured out there's variations. There's some with, the number, like you said, the number on the top, the number on the bottom. Right. So, yeah, it's, and that would have.
I feel like if I was putting this together, even back then, I probably wouldn't have even cared. Even if I figured it out, I probably wouldn't have cared.
Right. I think we'd just happy to have one, right?
Yeah, because it's not the back. The backs aren't different. They're the same. So if you pull the Washington Capitals one, it's number 30, regardless of which one you have.
Right. But they just said, hey, kids, use these stickers on your hockey equipment. Identify your equipment with your uniform number. Add a hockey puck sticker for every goal or assist scored. So, yeah. So the sticker backs weren't that good. The all-star stickers are kind of cool because, at least they have the player name on the back and stuff.
Well, and interestingly enough, the puck stickers have the same white glare that Mike Krushelinski's jersey has. So you can tell where they got this. They used the same designer for his jersey as they did for the hockey puck stickers.
The logo stickers, the team logo stickers, are the exact same stickers in 87-88 as they are in 88-89.
Yep, hard to tell apart.
No, the copyright on the back actually says 1987. So what it was okay, now I'm getting really into the weeds here, but the 12 player stickers would have been printed on one sheet. You would have been able to do 11 times 12 for 132 to get a sheet of those. And then the 21 team logos, and then they probably added the extra ones to make it make sense to fit 132. So, they were, because when I was sorting these cards years later, and I was very good about keeping my 87-88 separate from my 88-89s, my 89-90s. But when I went back and I started looking at them, I said, these are the same cards. These are the same copyright date and everything. So yeah, they just reused them. And I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's pretty cool. It's just 89-90, they inversed the numbers. They made the numbers red with a blue outline, and they updated the logos a bit. But just a fun little bit of trivia there.
Yeah, it kind of sucks when you're trying to figure out which one's which. And you're like, okay, let me just look at the copyright. Oh, wait. So
that's probably how I started, how I kind of got into that rabbit hole where I just kind of looked and I said, oh, these are the same. And then the more I looked into it and looked online and, figured it out, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it just makes sense that they would just say, you know what, let's just use the same logos. Let's just change out the players. Now, there's also the box bottoms. So Topps and O-Pee-Chee both had 16 box bottoms. They were in 4 panels of 4, basically 4 card panels, you could call them. And as I like to say, box bottoms are the short prints of the 80s, right? Because you look at, like, you get 6 Young Guns per box. Well, guess what? You only got 4 box bottoms per box.
I suppose that's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Just blew your mind with that, didn't I?
I mean, I've heard you say it before, but
oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it is, well, you could definitely look at it that way. You got to figure if they printed 25,000 boxes, well, you got 25,000 panels.
Right.
So.
But look at it this way. If there's 36 packs in a box of Topps, right, that means you get 1 box bottom for every 9 packs.
Right.
So that's a short print. I mean, basically, in today's terms, that would be a short print, basically.
Sure. And it's a short print that you're going to have a very hard time finding a nice quality one.
Yes.
It's the fact that they are box bottoms. What were boxes meant to be? They were meant to be put on a display shelf. So they're going to be pushed around and slid back and forth and all of that. And traditionally, you don't have the wrappers on these Topps boxes. So they're just the cardboard. And so they get chopped up and torn and bent and twisted and the paper loss and all of that kind of stuff. So box bottoms are highly sought after, especially ones with decent players on them. And, these ones, I mean, I would say at least 2 of the 4 have decent players on them.
Mm-hmm.
You got the one with Ron Francis and Wayne Gretzky on it, and you got one with Yzerman and Bork on it. So I don't know how many people want the Fedorko and Eddie Olchuk and Dennis Savard one. You would, but
yeah. But I don't have most of these box bottoms. I just have a handful of them in Topps and a few of them in O-Pee-Chee. What I think is kind of neat though is the Topps and O-Pee-Chee box bottom for the these are like team scoring leaders basically. And the Murray Craven, so the one for the Flyers has Murray Craven and Brian Propp. And it's just weird because look at how they had to alter the design because they're like, oh, God, there's 2 guys who led the team in scoring. And they could have gone with maybe Craven because he had more goals. And I think usually goals are the tiebreaker. Like if 2 players score the same amount of points, but one has more goals than the other one, that's usually the tiebreaker, at least in I think in scoring races, Art Ross Trophy maybe. So I don't know why they didn't just go with one of them, but for some reason they decided to picture both of them on the card. So it's just weird because it's they had to do a split photo of the 2 players. They almost look like they're skating side by side, but they're not, but it's almost the same proportion. And then at the way at the top, they had to make their names smaller and they'd put a bullet point in between them just to kind of separate them. I don't know. It's an anomaly. And I like anomalies like that. Like when you go, whoa, the logo's upside down, or, oh, there's an extra whatever here. Or in this case, okay, they pictured 2 players and 2 names and stuff. So kind of fun.
Well, you have that, you have the gray borders, you have the backs that are totally different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even between Topps and O-Pee-Chee, because Topps was printed on a kind of more of an orange stock, like the cards themselves, and the O-Pee-Chee were printed on more of a yellow stock, which is just doesn't really fit with its cards, which were also printed on an orange stock.
Yeah, the O-Pee-Chee backs are They are yellow. They look like 70. What would that be? Like 74, maybe, with the yellow back.
Yeah, or maybe 80, 81.
Oh yeah, I
You
forgot
know?
about that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. So another fun card, winding this down. So in 2003, 2004, Topps issued an insert set called the Lost Rookies, where they took like some of the best players who were still playing in that season. And they kind of did like these what if cards of like what their rookie cards could have looked like. So they did like an Ed Belfour on like an 89-90 Topps design. And they did like a Patrick Waugh on like an 85-86 Topps design. And they did a Mario Lemieux on an 84-85 Topps design. And then they did a Joe Sakic on an 88-89 Topps design, which doesn't really make sense because that's the year he started playing in the NHL. And I guess if like the back of the card, if it said 87, 88, no statistics, that would have made sense. But whatever, it's kind of a fun card because it looks, I mean, it's designed to look like an 88, 89 Topps card, even has the Topps logo on it. So I just think that's like a fun one to grab for your collection if you're like all in on like all things 88, 89.
And they even airbrushed him.
I don't think they did.
I don't think he wore number 88.
Yes, he did.
Did he?
Yeah.
I assume they did that because that was the year of the card.
No. He started with 88 and then he changed. He changed numbers. Yeah. First year he wore 88.
Yeah, I figured that was just a like, oh, this is a 88, 89 card, so let's put 88 on his jersey.
Now, what I'd like to do is
jersey anyway.
Photoshop Eric Lindros's head onto Joe Sakic's body on that card because he's wearing number 88.
That would make more sense.
And a Nordiques jersey. That would have been funny.
Even though he didn't play, but yeah.
Yeah. So that's another kind of interesting one. And then the last one was in 2024, Topps did a throwback Thursday 12-card set of baseball cards that used the 88-89 Topps hockey design. And I did not buy these because I looked at them and I said, it's a hockey design, but it's baseball cards of players that I don't want to collect. Now, I know like another time Topps did a throwback Thursday. Maybe it was Throwback Thursday. I don't know. But they did a Star Wars design where they did cards, pictures of characters from The Mandalorian, and they put them on 79-80 Topps hockey. And I said, all right, I got to buy those because we got Baby Yoda on a Gretzky rookie design. I need that card, right? So those I bought because that combined two things I liked. But looking at the baseball cards, I was just like, it's a cool design even for baseball, but it just wasn't really in my wheelhouse as something I wanted to collect. But what I find interesting is that instead of a player biography on the back, they do a write-up about the design of the card itself, which I'll read to you. It says, the 1988-89 Topps hockey design is both simple and cheerful while managing to stay sleek and timeless. The high contrast design and playful font usage allow for the image to, the high contrast design and playful font usage allow for the image frame to focus on the highlighted player. Keeping the bold pin design usage on the player name, this template easily stands out in hockey trading card history and is a proper fit for this month's MLB TBT lineup. Wow. And that was written, I'm assuming, with AI?
Maybe, because they sure didn't put much more work into it because every single card in that set has the same back.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, just like, it's like, okay, simple and cheerful, high contrast, playful, playful font usage. You mean the diagonal text? Okay. The bold pin design usage stands out. I mean, okay, yeah, it does stand
Crap
out.
that an advertising agency uses to fluff up their copy paste that they usually do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
No offense to any advertisers that are listening.
Yeah. And I like this particular card that we're looking at, Manny Machado. It's almost like he's going, "Hey, look at that drop shadow. Isn't that cool?" Because he's like looking up and pointing. So it looks like he's pointing at the drop shadow that's superimposed on the photo.
He's like, in case you forgot, this is my name right here.
That's my name. This is who I am. So
yeah, that set, I think they were like $15 for the set.
Yeah, for 3 cards.
Yeah, see, like most of the stuff that's put online for Topps to sell, this is the crap that sells out in like 38 seconds because people jam the line, so to speak, and they're gone. So you don't really have much of an opportunity to buy this stuff. And I don't really remember. Like, I only saw this after the fact, and it was already long sold out by the time I even knew these existed. But in typical fashion, there were short print versions and numbered parallels and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah, so the base ones usually end up on eBay pretty cheap. I mean, I picked up a Tom Glavine Throwback Thursday that looked like a 71-72 Topps hockey card, and I got it for like $2 or something.
Yeah, and I don't. Did they only do just 3 in this design? Because I know there were
total of 12. Okay. So they did 4 sets of 3, like 4 3-card packs that were $14.99 each.
Okay, I didn't know if each one was the same, all 12, or if they did each pack of 3 was a different design.
No, because then what they would do, like then the next month, they might use like 1971 Topps football on baseball cards. Crazy, right? Like,
yeah,
you know.
I don't claim to know anything about baseball and stuff, but I just know how the Topps website sells out of stuff so quickly, like the Topps Now stuff and all of that, especially nowadays. Back then, I mean, that was so long ago. 2024.
Yeah, I know, right?
Can't even remember it.
So, any final thoughts on this episode or on this on these sets of cards as we wrap things up? Because I think I've pretty much said everything I could say, other than I like these cards. I'd love to see the design come back into hockey someday, but that might be nostalgia just talking. Of course, it's nostalgia just talking. But yeah, any thoughts you got? Last words?
Hey, not really. I mean, you said most of everything, and just reiterate the fact that if you're a set builder, or if you like 80s nostalgia, I guess it's a good set to put together. It's fairly easy to do. I don't recommend going out and finding and overpaying for a wax box.
No,
because the prices on these are absolutely ridiculous for what you actually get. Because really, what you're looking at here on the screen right now are 2 of the biggest cards in the set right there in the middle for Topps, the Brett Hull and the Wayne Gretzky, and they're really not that much. Even if you pulled one and it was pristine and you got it graded, it's probably not worth it. So you could build this set for fairly cheap, or you can probably buy it less than you can buy a wax box.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you could buy probably both sets for less than what you'd pay for a wax box.
I mean, I saw a certain vendor at the National selling them with their nice wrap, telling you that they were really 88, 89 Topps and O-Pee-Chee rather than filled with G.I. Joe cards. And I think it was like $700.
Yeah, $700. I saw the same one because, of course, I asked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, $700. Okay.
$700 to build a set that costs $100, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. You could buy at least 4 of them for that price.
Or like I said, you could buy the top set, the O-Pee-Chee set, the sticker set, maybe the box bottoms. I mean, there's got the Gretzky in there, but I mean, yeah, you could probably get all of those things for less than that.
And you could buy the O-Pee-Chee mini set too.
Yeah, that'll have to be a topic for another show. So this one's been pretty good. I think we should put a pin in it, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Nothing, no round of applause, no laughter for that great pun.
You can add the laugh track afterward.
Because they got a little push pin in the corner, and I said we should put a pin in it.
I was trying to avoid even commenting.
So only you get to tell dad jokes.
You can tell them. I don't have to laugh at them. My kids don't laugh at any of my dad jokes. My jokes are hilarious. So that's all I'm saying.
All right. And that's all we're saying. So we'll finish this one then. So thank you for sticking around until the end and listening to the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast, or watching the Puck Junk Hockey Podcast. As always, if you've enjoyed the show, please be sure to like and subscribe. Please subscribe to the newsletter at puckjunk.com/newsletter. Please consider sponsoring this podcast by buying a t-shirt at shop.puckjunk.com. And until next time, collect what you like.